Good morning.
Grand Rising.
Indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Soul Tribe. Good to see you all. It is a Saturday morning for us, and we are sipping some coffee. I've got tea.
I have mushroom coffee.
I have my mushroom coffee already, and I wanted some cinnamon tea. So hopefully you have a yummy beverage as well.
Grab a cup.
Grab a cup, because happy Leo full moon.
Woohoo.
Yeah, it is almost here. We're definitely in the energies already. Have been feeling it for the whole week, I feel like. And we'll definitely get into all of that. But welcome to Lunar Reflections, where we're going to talk about some real life stories, the ways the astrology shows up in our lives, in our clients' lives, in the collective and like world stage, and really getting present with the astrology and kind of being in this moment and reflecting on it, because oftentimes I think, especially with astrology, you can very much get in the future and be stuck in like the forward thinking, which is not a bad thing, but if you're stuck there and you're not living in the present,
I know we're already all watching the eclipse videos as they're coming out, but the focus of today, the focus of now, the focus of the Leo full moon, which is just around the corner. And so that's tomorrow night. I know that the moon has been really big and bright here in the sky, as I've been like popping up in the evenings and night. But the Leo full moon is coming in at 13 degrees of Leo. So grab a cup, grab your chart, get familiar with where you have Leo and Aquarius, and also the other two fixed signs of like Taurus and Scorpio. There's a lot going on inside of the fixed axis right now. We'll talk about all of that inside of the show. And
did you introduce yourself?
Oh, no. Hi, everyone. Of course, my name is Corbin. I'm a natal astrologer. I love working with the birth chart and with clients to kind of unpack the fate and fortune of your life. And as the story of your life unfolds too, we can use different timing techniques. So y'all hear me talk a lot about Hellenistic astrology and some ancient techniques. Love using those to kind of just unpack the wisdom inside of the birth chart for folks. This show, of course, is about mundane astrology, or about how the astrology happens in just commonplace everyday life. So we'll talk about big things and small, just where we see the astrology in the kind of lived experience of that.
And my name is Jake. I'm a hypnotherapist, and here to discuss the moon and what's been going on in our lives, and bringing in client examples when it's relevant, and talking about what's going on. So see some Soul Tribe in the chat. Hello to Ken. Hello to Lisa.
Hey Ken.
Hello Beth. Lisa. Good to see you. Very cold here as well. We have been
very cold.
I mean, we had like,
and that's a theme for today.
It is a theme. Absolutely, it is a theme. So yeah, definitely appreciating the warm bevies on these cold winter morns. Emma, you're probably watching replay, so enjoy your summer weather down there in the southern realms.
Yeah, our southern hemisphere friends. Make sure you're continuing to send the warmth.
Send the warmth. We need it. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Okay, so we have a couple announcements before we dive into the show. First, make sure you check out the meditation that I'll be dropping tomorrow. It'll come out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And this one is a great one. It's really around heart activation and dropping into your heart and building up that heart love energy. And so very much in line with the themes. We'll be talking more about that in a moment. So check out that at 10 tomorrow.
I mean, it was actually our conversation getting ready for this
show. It was, because it
was like, oh, I'm going to put that meditation out early because it just aligns with the moment so well. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah, I was going to release it next week, but pushed it up a little bit because, the moment is now.
The heart's needed.
The heart is very needed, yeah. And also wanted to pop up.
Yes.
We have a little sale going on the old Pisces portals. If you have not checked out the Pisces portals on the website, please go and do so. And you'll see that we have a sale going on leading up to Valentine's Day on the florals.
So all of our floral skulls are on sale right now, regardless of the size of them. I think the extra larges are $99, the larges are $77, and the medium friends are $33. There's a lot of, beautiful florals that can bring in some of that warm weather that we need. But really, we like to think of these as, kind of talismans that hold the energy and the essence of these flowers and kind of, sealing it in time inside of the resin. Definitely a tool for your altar space or anywhere throughout your home to just anchor in some positive vibes at this time. Yeah, we talked a lot about peony and how significant it is for 2026.
Look at that. It's so gorgeous. I love this one.
And then you have one more announcement.
One more announcement. Dive in. Make sure you join Jennifer and I live next Tuesday. We'll be live a little earlier than normal, 11 a.m. here in Central Time Zone, because, of course, Jennifer is in the UK. And so we got to do that dance. But join us live. We'll be debriefing and talking about the information that came through our most recent future session, including telepathy and the ways that she saw that enhancing our relationships with each other, with the natural world, with the animal kingdom. So it's pretty cool. And I'm excited to chat with Jennifer as always. So you'll find that scheduled on the channel already. All right. Last thing you'll see on the one last thing.
Dragons.
One more thing. Dragons. I have it down on the ticker as well, so you can see the details down there. But I'm doing a dragon workshop, dragon guided journey, coming up on February 22nd, 6 p.m. It's a Sunday, and it's the 222 portal. And I just was feeling like that was the perfect moment. The dragons were like, hey, let's get together, let's work together. And so still dreaming up what that full experience is going to look like, but it's going to be really fun. And if you feel a connection with the dragons, if you're interested in the dragons at all, or if you're just looking for a fun time on a chilly February evening, come join us. Tickets are only $11. So it's a pretty good deal. And that is linked down below as well. So yeah. Jody, dragons,
Grand Rising, Jody.
Hello.
Thanks for joining in. Yeah, I saw this from Lisa.
Yeah. So jealous.
Wouldn't that be nice? Also, I would be in shorts in 48, though, to be honest, right now.
Well, that's the Minnesota way. Here, let me pull this down. That's the Minnesota way. I feel like shorts and a winter jacket is very much a chic look here in Minnesota. I definitely remember plenty of kids coming to school in the weirdest outfits.
Sweatshirt is my favorite.
It is. It's a good one.
Well, as everyone's coming in, our first set of fun stories that we have, a little bit of a lighthearted place to start. But it's the Leo full moon, and Leo isn't the strongest association with our pets. That's a little bit more of a Virgo thing. But Leo the lion and our cats have just been something else recently. And definitely the technology has been something else. And our friends here that help us in the 3D or 4D or 5D really have been doing some extra work here. So we're going to start with a little fun cat story because Leo the lion. And if you have any funny things that have gone on with your cats recently, feel free to put that in the chat. But Jake, take it away.
Yeah, definitely let us know. I know for me, Zulu, who you probably have heard screaming on camera before, she might show up today and come in and scream at us. But the cats have been extra loud and attention seeking. It feels like Zulu oftentimes will follow me upstairs as I go to bed, and she'll come and she'll jump on the bed and she'll scream at me until I pet her. And oftentimes then as I'm lying down, she'll kind of do laps around me and, kneading here and kneading there. And I feel like it's very much her doing her energy work and her kind of clearing me out before bed so that I can have a nice good sleep. Because she doesn't do it all the time, but she definitely does at times like this. And so it's been a few days now where every night, like clockwork, she follows me up and she's wanting the treatment and the pets and the pacing. So it's really funny. We've also had moments when we're stuck in our phones.
Yeah, I think this is where it's happened for me more frequently, is that our black cat Sirius just has been yelling at me when I've been like a little bit too far into my phone, and the technology and the evils of technology and the distraction from that. That's definitely a theme that we'll be talking about today, with so much Aquarian energy going on right now inside of this lunar cycle. And, you know, our furry friends are really calling us back into our hearts, to that connection with, you know, the things that make us warm. Mm-hmm. I think about the ways that our furry friends warm our hearts. And so they really are doing a little bit of extra work right now, I think. Also hearing a lot of stories recently of animals passing, animals getting sick, a lot of digestive things I've heard recently with animals, as they might be processing some of that which we cannot process, or that we are trying to process. They're just working on another layer of it. So anyways, shout out to the kitties specifically.
Yeah. It's Leo season.
But Leo season. Yeah.
Lions. And I love this. Lisa saying Finn has been high maintenance, very vocal, and needs lots of love. Yeah. And Zulu too. I mean, she has her schedule, and so like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., she needs like about an hour of on and off maintenance and love. And then there's like a period later in the day as well. And then there's like the evening time rounds, and Sirius and Hero are the same. They've got their routines. And I love how they really have a way of knowing when you need to be pulled out of whatever you're doing, or need to be redirected. And I feel like we could trust them more. I love it.
Well, let's pull up the wheel here, and we can just start to talk about some of the astrology going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, it is, all right, wheel, here we go. It is such an Aquarian season right now. I'm circling Aquarius over here on the wheel, and there are 5 planets in Aquarius at the time of this full moon, which is definitely a big old stellium here. So we have Pluto, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury. I mean, basically spanning the entire section of Aquarius in your chart. And so this energy has been coming in big, strong, hard. It's definitely a moment already where we are in a portal for the eclipses, though. While we are talking about our full moon today over here, at 13 Leo, the eclipse is just 2 weeks away, and actually happens at the last few degrees of Aquarius. And over the next few weeks, most of these planets will begin to, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, will begin to move towards that eclipse point. And as we get closer and closer to that moment, there'll be this kind of crescendoing, growing moment leading up to some of those bigger eclipse moments. But if you haven't already felt the veil thinning, happy or blessed Imbolc with this full moon. If you haven't already noticed the big world changes going on, we'll just spend a little bit of time talking about some of the ways that this strong Aquarius energy really has been coming in on a global scale and on a collective scale. And then we'll kind of get into what the heart is needing to deal with that, and really what the message of this Leo full moon is all about. Yeah. So Jake, you had a great way of talking about how this Aquarian energy is showing up.
Oh yeah. Any Star Trek Next Generation fans out there? Raise your hand in the chat.
Oh, I should have brought my tarot deck.
Oh, you should have. I mean, you could go grab it, but
yeah.
Right, Jody, it is a lot in Aquarius, big pile up. And I feel like,
well, and again, familiarize yourself with where this is in your chart. There's definitely a key aspect or sector of your life that is really being activated by this. And so come see me if you need help finding that out and figuring out what this is all about. But yeah, absolutely. It's very concentrated energy. So I heard someone talk about it as a think tank. It's very condensed mental energy all in one spot.
Which, speaking of mental energy, so this was what I was thinking when we were really talking about this archetype of Aquarius being cold, calculating, logical, like cold to a cruel point, like unfeeling, dehumanized.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into that in a bit because we have a lot to say around that. It's been
Star Trek reference.
The Star Trek reference is really about Data, and those of you who are familiar with the show know Data as the android. He is a robot, and a big theme of the show is like his reckoning with his being an android and being a part of like human society, but not being a part of it and being this outsider. And there's
and emotion. How do I have emotion?
And emotion,
how do I
yes.
express emotion?
Right.
Yes.
And he has like these emotional moments, but then we have this theme of his evil twin brother Lore, who doesn't have the control or the structure that Data has. Anyway, there's a sequence of episodes where Data
Really good
gets
episodes.
corrupted by Lore, his evil twin brother, and he has his emotions removed, and so he is turned into this very cold.
Actually, I think Lord gives him negative emotions.
Lore gives him the negative emotions.
Yeah, we're gonna have to rewatch.
It's been a moment, but essentially he turns into like a very evil, very cold, calculated, like using his logic in a negative way.
Yeah, in a way that wasn't for the best of humanity.
Yes, exactly. And that idea of this cold, hard Data, this like evil expression of that, like very logic based mental energy.
You know, I work in marketing in my corporate life, and sometimes I do a lot of work in analytics, and you know, it can be this concept where people become numbers or percentages rather than, you know, folks who have heartbeats and feelings and families and lives and dreams. And anyways,
I love that, Jody. Someone talking to you in your dream about Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, no surprises there.
Lots of disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, how have we been seeing some of this coming up in the world around us recently? I know there's a lot of hubbub this past week around the Mars-Pluto conjunction that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone had some nice personal revelations for themselves. But definitely, you know, I think of Pluto and Mars, and I think about war and nukes and, you know, how that came up in the world scale in a very large way this past week. There's a lot of, you know, the United States pushing around for a nuclear deal right now, or, you know, kind of beating the drum of war a little bit there. North Korea was back in the news for, you know, some missile testing and kind of, you know, spinning up fear around nukes in that region of the world. And we have to remember that everyone has their own astrologers, that everyone knows how to use the timing of the moments to help manifest what sort of desired outcomes that they have. And again, I just ask myself, as we think about these weapons, what place does that have in a world where we are all equal, or a world where we all understand that we're all made of the same galactic DNA and that we all hold the like codes? It's something interesting that's going on in the global scale that makes us think about our individual place inside of that. On the global scale too, we've seen a lot of, we talked about this previously, but continued new alignments, agreements, trade deals continue to be this thing. And, you know, it's both political and ideological. There's a shifting landscape out there, and, you know, Aquarius is about your community, and the community, the international community, is realigning right now, where people are, you know, finding new partnerships. Aquarius is about who we work with to make our dreams come true. And so we're seeing this happen internationally. I would also say nationally, and even locally in our own communities, and probably on a personal level too. Again, I continue to ask myself the ways that people think about resources, whether that be land or information or food. You know, what are the governments doing that are heart-centered and focused on humanity here? And what are ways that maybe people are being treated cold or heartless? It's very interesting.
Yeah. It definitely is, and I think especially for us, we're in Minneapolis, and this is definitely an interesting moment for the community, and is showing up in interesting ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit as well, because that ties into some of our other themes. But that heart-centeredness, I mean, I've been feeling this in in very like subtle synchronistic ways, because I picked a meditation, what, 3 weeks ago or something like that, for last week actually, for a new meditation series that I'm doing locally in person at the YMCA that I work at. And I had picked this meditation out, and then I ended up switching it and doing a different meditation last week. And so then that one ended up on this week, and it turned out to be very heart-centered and very focused on that heart energy. And I thought that was just very synchronistic with the energies, and how, when you're in flow, you just feel those themes in your real life. Like, you don't need to necessarily have the labels on it.
Flow is such a good word for Leo too, because being ruled by the sun, it's connected with that solar wisdom or those light codes. And so when we talk about being in flow, we're moving in sync with the universe, right? And so we often associate flow with like a water sign or something like that. But I think if there's anyone who is like a master of flow, it might be Leo, because of that strong connection with the sun.
Yeah, and the plasma connection as well. Yeah. I mean, we think about the flowing of plasma. I mean, that's maybe even more, I don't want to say real of a flow than water, but it's definitely a different kind of flow. It's a different level. Yeah.
So anyways, more challenging things though with all this Saturnian energy, the traditional ruler of Aquarius, there's been a lot in the news this past week about the multinational corporations, the big structures of our society, and how all of the layoffs are coming as it's related to increased investment in AI. I very much think about that as a message inside of, this lunar cycle period. And with all of this like Aquarian energy that we're being confronted with, a big reminder that we are still just getting into those first few degrees of Pluto inside of Aquarius. Pluto's not even at 4, and there's still so much to understand about the shadow aspects of Aquarius. And that's why we're trying to take some time to talk about that as it's being shown inside of our world right now, because the real message of this new moon is making sure that we turn away from those kinds of things and turn into our hearts. And so we're not trying to like doomsday at the get-go here. Hey, good morning, Grand Rising Tammy. But we're really talking about what is going on, because it really is beginning to affect ourselves and our bodies. Aquarius is about our nervous system. And so how is the system that runs our bodies being affected by all of this dehumanized action that's happening out inside of the world? Thousands of people will be losing their jobs very shortly here because of, this promise of AI, this promise of this new religion. And, anyways, it's about how does that sit inside of your heart?
Well, and I've been seeing a lot about the water consumption and the data centers. And I definitely think there is nuance to like what is true and what is not, as is the case in everything that is widely publicized. I think you need to be using discernment and questioning things, right? But there is this idea of like water as something that we need, that we survive off of, and that we need for so many different things in just our day-to-day human existence.
And we hear that the data centers go through millions of gallons of water just to cool the servers and the machinery. And you think about the water with the ability to hold memory. What sort of memory is that water taking on by cooling down this machinery? I don't know if I want that water coming close to me after that. I don't need that information, I feel like. But
yeah, it's been, at least for us here in this household, a period of
things. You should show the thing that we made.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been a period of reflection. And I feel like, at least for me, some really dramatic shifts in my perspectives and my understandings of things, and what and how I'm seeing my actions, the actions of in the world around me.
Again, that's Aquarius. It's ideological. It's a fixed air sign. So it's about, how do we mentally process? How do we think about what is our philosophy? What is our perspective? And so to have big shifts in these kinds of things,
Yeah.
the reminder that these shifts are lining us up for the new earth, right? For the next era. There are still things that need to change and go away. If we go back to the chart and we talk about some of the techniques here, the traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. Well, Saturn is at 28 Pisces right now. It's 2 degrees away from the end of the entire zodiac. When we talk about big endings, big closings, things that are, done, we're seeing that as part of right now too. There are some ideological beliefs that need to be left behind so that we can be reborn anew and heal as a collective. That's the other side of the Pisces thing that we haven't touched on here. We had more on robots to do.
We did, yeah. Quick, we wanted to show off though, latest iteration of our water charging coaster,
water structuring
coaster. So it's got a bunch of metals in there. It's got rutilated quartz, and I've been plopping. Well, right now I have my smoothie on top of it.
Let's bring some technology forward to help our bodies rather than, I don't know, make us stressed out because of
Yeah, well, and that's really where some of this AI and Ahriman, for those who are unfamiliar with the concept of Ahriman, we had a short little clip that we wanted to play. Should we jump there, or should we?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. Hello.
I love Brett's question here. I don't know.
Yeah, let me pop up
about
Brett's
some
question
of that later. Well, I'm wondering if we're getting into some of that later, but
sure.
Let's just pin that.
Yeah, we got your question, Beth, and we will get there. Sorry, the dance of the screens.
Hopefully, we'll just divinely weave it into what we're talking about.
Yes, it will. Okay, I think I'm gonna pop this up. This is a little description of Ahriman for those who are unfamiliar.
Rudolf Steiner, Ahrimanic force. Rudolf Steiner warned us of a coming threat, not from outside, but from inside human systems. He called it Ahriman, a spiritual force that thrives in materialism, tech, and soulless control. Ahriman wants us cold, logical, and disconnected from spirit. Like archons, it feeds on our forgetfulness. When we worship systems over soul, laws over love, we fall into Ahriman's grip. But Steiner also said, every threat is also a chance for awakening. You don't need to escape the world. You need to bring soul into it.
I mean, what a phrase to end on. You don't need to escape it. You need to bring soul into it.
Yeah. And that's
really where this whole story and this whole message is going. It's going back into the heart. It's going back into love. It's going back into Leo. And that's really what the astrology is calling and asking us to do at this time.
And yeah, absolutely, Tammy. I definitely agree that I think that's the same energy. And that's, we talk about the cycles and the ways that we've returned to this point where we are reckoning with some of the similar lessons and the energies of that time. And I fully believe, and I watched quite a few clips of people talking about this idea and this concept. So we're certainly not the first ones to connect these ideas, but that AI and the current shifts in tech, in how we interact with technology, how we interact with each other, especially AI and the ways that it's become really this filter for most of our communication between each other in a lot of ways, in a lot of situations. And this idea that this is cutting us off from our spirit, cutting us off from our soul. And in the case of Atlantis, right, we hear these rumors and these ideas about how tech and the loss of humanity, the loss of empathy and connection to one another, and this pursuit of power and wealth and innovation, pursuing that to a fault, because we have this idea of lasers and technology being that part of the fall, and how it got destabilized. And so it's just something really interesting to think about. And I think as you interact with, because I've used AI, I've definitely had like a pretty positive feeling about it for a moment, but as of late, my perspectives have been shifting for real, and I've been really reckoning with, what does this mean? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for the community, for the rest of humanity, for our world? And I think we need to ask that.
Well, and in astrology, we talk about the age of Aquarius, right? There's so much in the Aquarian archetype that we've already discussed here that really emphasizes this side of the devil, this side of evil. And, you have to understand there's a perspective that the Luciferian energy is kind of going away, and that, when we talk about the changing of the cycles, I think one of the big things right now is that, the depiction of evil as Lucifer is now transitioning into that of Ahriman. And so inside of this age of air, inside of this age of information, we need to start to begin to recognize this very early on here, so that we can choose the paths that we want to be on, because there's so much about this moment. And right now it's like very much the beginning of a new chapter, or it's like the introduction into a new section that we're moving into. And so that's why I think some of this reflection is so important right now. But things are changing, and this is kind of how we're sensing that things are changing. And so more of that kind of dehumanization that we're seeing. Jake found a story this week about a Tesla factory where they had been making probably vehicles that is now transitioning to make robots. And, I just said, oh, we're going to get replaced in our own homes next. Like, yeah, you're really going to nurture and care for my things in the way that I can like love and nurture and intuitively like know when it's time to water the plants. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. There's also definitely this fear mongering idea, even in this story, right? I mean, they have it titled Tesla to build 1 million Optimus robots per year at Fremont factory, Musk says. And sure, like 1 million robots does sound a little frightening, right? Especially if we don't know how they're being programmed or who's programming them. This is a private company that is making these. Like, I don't know about y'all, but the movie I, Robot growing up was one that really stuck with me, and really has been one that I've been reflecting on as we've moved into this like robot age and more of this AI age. And that movie was planted as like laying the groundwork for the fear to be
Sure.
preyed upon, because there's too much synchronicity between what they told us in the movies and what's happening now, right?
So if this is some of like the top-down approach to what is happening, and some of like the cold fist of control that we're seeing with Aquarius right now, we have to go back to the astrology to realign and reorient ourselves with where is the truth in all of this, because Aquarius teaches us about the outsider, right? Aquarius is the marginalized, the foreign, the different, the other. It's those who find themselves on the fringe. It's definitely the black sheep. Again, traditionally ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the freak who lives in the hut at the end of the village. Like these are the people that are on the outsides. And so as all of these new things come in, I ask myself, how does that affect the fringes? How does that affect the outsiders? Because we are supposed to be making a society that is more fair and equal for all. And so, yeah, it's just something that I think about here. And Leo, this archetype of Leo, it makes us think about those in power. It makes us think about the king or the emperor. For so long, astrology was used and the sun was used by kings and rulers and emperors as this kind of divine right to be in charge, to be the leader. We have to remember that this is how a lot of that structure was built. And again, how are these people treating those who are marginalized, those who are on the fringes? At the same time, we do see Aquarian community coming together in new ways, but this is on a much more ground up, localized kind of way, where people are coming together to support each other, to create this new version of community that works best for them. Minneapolis is a big example for that, what's going on right now. Jake, did you want to share a little bit just how you're seeing the Aquarian community coming together on the ground level to support people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that it definitely is being highlighted and being shown for sure, because we've had this exertion of power and control from above, and the response has been the people coming together and doing what they feel is best to protect the people, to protect their neighbors. I mean, I have heard of most neighborhoods in the city having some level of like community watch or like community messaging. And a lot of this was laid, the foundation of this was laid back in 2020, 2021, when we had all of the George Floyd experiences, and this city was rocked by all of that. And now we're reacting in a different way, and it's much more organized. I mean, we're seeing the ways that neighbors are coming together to protect each other. And I've heard too, as well, of people, giving people rides to work, picking up coworkers, like people who are feeling unsafe, who are part of the people being targeted.
The redistribution of food right now is such a huge thing, because so many restaurants are down because their kitchen staffs have been affected by this, or the drivers who traditionally deliver these things. The numbers.
Hey, Laura, good to see you.
Good morning, Laura. Grand rising.
Grand rising.
Folks' workforce numbers are down in a lot of ways, and whether people are, there's just the redistribution of food is just such a big topic that I'm seeing. Food drives, people cooking and passing meals out of their homes, local places distributing free meals, that kind of a thing. There's a lot of people and families. There's a lot of families that have been directly impacted by this. And so, yeah, lots of smaller units coming together on a kind of localized neighborhood way that are creating solutions. And that's great, because again, the Leo moon is asking us to come back into the heart. It's coming back into the humanity. And so I want us to go into this kind of more personal place now, because at the heart of all of this, astrology is for you. It's for yourself. It's how you understand you and the world around you. That's why I love astrology. And so we now really need to begin to reflect on, how are you feeling? How are you doing right now? How is your heart emotionally, physically? I have had a lot of tension in my heart at periods in the last 2 weeks here. My heart has really asked me to come back into my body and to get out of some of the mental stimulation, to calm it down. I was in meditation earlier this week, and I saw robots, essentially. I got a vision of robots, and I just thought, oh my gosh, this Aquarian energy really has grabbed me, and I need to come back into the heart. So the idea on mind heart coherence is so huge right now, with the Aquarian center being here, and Leo being here. Aquarius is so crown, third eye. Leo is way more heart, solar plexus, and we need to bring this all back together. Listen to the nervous system, listen to your heart, listen to your body. I think of the heart in this as a portal that can, bring you towards healing, to bring you towards your own personal truth. we think of Leo as our inner child, and our heart here still holds that flame, still holds that bright bonfire of universal love, of connection with source. And the heart can be almost like a black hole too, in the way that it holds these solar codes or this wisdom, or, can the keys to enlightenment. There's so much that's needed right now as it relates to your heart. So much of this, I said to a friend the other day, control the inputs. There's so much coming in to hit your mind and hit your body in these negative kinds of ways, but you need to do right by your heart by, being almost militant about the information that you're taking in at this time, because so much of it is designed to not be good for your heart.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jake.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I
got passionate about that one, but that's Leo. Leo's where we, are driven by our passions. It's that fiery chi.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that we've mentioned in a few different ways the technology and how I feel like has become more and more apparent every day how insidious it really is, and how we have understood the ways that these systems were not designed to help us. They were designed to feed off of us, to take money, take energy, take emotion, take whatever it is, loosh. I mean, you can call it what you want. And so, and I know for myself, like I've realized, especially even just in the last week, like these moments where I'm getting sucked into whatever it is, whether it be a social media, whether it be a news story, whether it be a video, and I'm like, wait, whoa, why am I here? I don't need this. I don't want this.
Do you remember
having to step back?
I went to my phone to look up the definition of a word,
Oh
and
my
like
God.
10
Yeah.
minutes later, I'm doom scrolling, and I like realize it, and I say, oh my God, I just went to find out what freaking firmament meant,
Yeah.
jeepers, and here we are. But again, the solution here is going back into the heart. Jake, I'm actually gonna go here and then we'll go there.
Okay.
The Sabian symbol for this lunation cycle. So if we went and looked up the divinatory meaning of 14 Leo, we always round up here. The Sabian symbol for this was the human soul awaiting opportunities for outward manifestation. And often in consultations, I talk about singing the song of your soul, or something analogous of the idea of letting your light shine. And again, amidst all of kind of the more difficult stuff that we talked about at the beginning here that might be going on a collective or a global, something that we're all reckoning with, the solution here is letting your light shine. It's going back into what makes you shine, what lightens you up, really immersing yourself inside of that, and remembering that part of what you're here to do is to bring that to others and say, look how sparkly this is, isn't it so beautiful and cool? And that's the time of this moment. That's the advice in the astrology. You might have to turn away from certain groups of people or certain information channels or think tanks that you've been a part of recently to get back in touch with that more personal inner truth of your own. This is akin to doing inner child work, right? And that really does bring you back into, though, a place where you can more radiantly shine.
I just wanted to share and highlight Lisa's comment. She said, I was getting a whole vision while Corbin spoke. Wow, you're doing great, Corbin. So
Passion.
I hope you share that with us, Lisa. I'm sure you will. And Jody saying, I don't choose AI to heal my body. I choose crystal bowl healing with a loving practitioner. Yeah. And that's beautiful. It's about that connection and that heart coherence. And I think that there are ways that we've been fed this concept of AI that really is not what it is in reality. When you look at what it actually is, and you understand where it's come from, how it's been funded, how it's been created, who's created it, what the intentions and energy behind it are, like more and more, I can't get that out of my head when I'm using it. I just can't stop thinking about, okay, but what is actually happening here? And
every corporation is telling all their workers, use this. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to bring us to the new earth, really.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that, as with anything, there are obviously ways that the light or the positive can come out,
Oh, absolutely.
and there are ways that you can use anything for a, a good purpose, or for healing, or whatever it might be. And I certainly don't want to discount anyone's like lived experiences in that regard, but I really do think that this moment is about questioning that, and really being thoughtful about how am I moving forward as
One, as you look through the shadow and examine the shadow of these things, you're definitely able to find the light in it. Listen, there is something positive inside of that technology.
Mhm.
We need to find the best way of utilizing it.
Well, and that's why they leave that speck of good in there. They highlight those positive ways as a tool to feed you the more negative. So anyway,
but let's jump back into the personal, because one of the big things that's been coming up as we talk about Leo and our inner child,
as Tammy said at 10:44 our time,
yes,
Leo equals inner child.
I love that. There we go.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that right now, as we're closing out cycles, as we're closing out seasons, it's a beautiful moment to be healing childhood wounds and closing out that trauma and letting go of that. And so we've both had some of this come up in our own personal lives. I'm going to do my best to talk about mine. I, through a series of synchronicities, became aware of a trauma that I incurred when I was relatively young, around losing a loved one very close to me. And I was, in fact, probably so young that conscious me in my 30s, I couldn't put my finger on actually having lost that person. But I was reading a book and bawling and crying and needing to figure out what was going on with my emotions. And that's what I ended up finding, was this deep inner child wound that had a theme of abandonment around it, and like a lack of receiving love, or feeling like worthy to receive love, or something like that. And it came in really big this week in a very large ways. And shout out to everyone in the Soul Tribe who, pulled cards or said something to kind of help trigger these. And I got to this moment where I had enough conscious awareness of the pieces of the puzzle to address this. And so, good old me, Pisces, I hop in the bathtub and cry. And then the unusual thing that makes me really think about this moment in time, and the healing. I spent about a half hour singing in the bathtub. I am not a singing person, but there's something about that fixed air energy of Aquarius, and the vocal energy of Aquarius. And there was something about taking everything that was happening in my heart with this healing of the inner child and projecting it through my voice. It was like this connection between Aquarius and Leo that came out in this way that I was working to heal this trauma. Now I'm sure there's more layers of this, and that was just, the other night in the bathtub, but it really, really changed my grander outlook on things. And so, we've also talked about all of the planets and the water signs for a while now. We've had a prime season for deep traumatic healing. And so, I just wanted to kind of share something that I went through this week, realizing that I really missed my nanny. I had a nanny for a couple years when I was a kid, and I loved her so dearly, and I didn't understand when she left. And now I understand more. And now I know I can, have a different perspective on love. So, hey, that's me. Let us know in the chat if you are healing anything from your childhood, your inner child, ways that you connect with giving and receiving love. These are all tidbits of wisdom to reflect upon and to work on integrating right now at this time as you're moving forward into what's next. We're letting go of things right now because we're starting such a huge new chapter this year, and you don't need to carry some of these traumas with you anymore. I have to believe that I can now moving forward, I'll be able to love and connect in new, more nurturing and expressive kinds of ways. Anyways.
Yeah. And Jody also appreciates the water, saying that she usually cries in the shower and it feels great. Yeah, there's definitely something to the water, and especially for those with water placements, with heavy water energy in your chart. Definitely something that probably resonates for you too in your own way.
If you want to go back to the wheel really quickly, some of this might be coming up in a sudden triggered kind of way. I do want to call attention to Uranus at the final degrees here of Taurus, which is one of the other fixed signs that we talked about at the beginning here. Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. Uranus will be stationing direct just a couple days after our full moon here. And I had already said, all of these planets inside of Aquarius are going to be moving towards the final degrees, getting closer to that eclipse point. They also get closer to perfecting a square with Uranus, which is asking us to awaken, to transform, to change. And so some of these things might be coming up more suddenly, more out of the blue. And I just want to draw attention to that, because with this stationing and going direct inside of this week, the Uranian moments and hits are going to be a lot more prolific. Thank you. We've been talking a lot. I don't think we have enough time to go through all of that, though.
Up to you. I don't know. Let's cover what we can.
Okay.
I mean, there's no real time limit. It's our show. We can do what we want.
What is time?
I mean, y'all can leave when you want, but we have a little bit more to go through.
Yeah. I did want. Okay, so we love going through cycles here, because if we reflect on the past, that can help us to understand what's coming forward. So, like I said, Uranus is ending a 7-year cycle here inside of Taurus. There's a big shakeup this week as it stations direct. The full moon is in aspect to all of this. And again, the energy is just kind of crescendos over the next 2 weeks as some of the planets start to come into closer contact with it. So Uranus, if we go back, entered Taurus in May of 2018. It did a little bloop, bloop. It came in, it went retrograde, it went out. And we're thinking about like May 2018, March 2019, up until now. That's kind of the time frame. So we've had about 7 years here where Uranus has been asking for a personal revolution in a certain aspect of your chart in the Taurus section of your lives, changing tastes, changing values, what's pleasurable or what feels good to you. And this is all informed by like a mental piece of wisdom, information. It's about taking new ideas and enacting that inside of the 3D. When I think about this period in time, of course, 2018, 2019, good moments to see some big changes as to what was shifting here. But when I reflect on 2023 and 2024, Jupiter also was transiting through Taurus during this time. And a lot of those things that Uranus kicked off really grew because Jupiter has this ability to make bigger anything that it comes in contact with. And inside of the sign of Taurus, which is associated to like food and, all the Venusian things, I remember that year, Jake and I just growing so much food. It was like buckets everywhere.
Inside and outside, though.
Inside and outside, growing food everywhere. We did that electroculture thing, which is starting to bring in some different like pieces of technology. That's like a Uranus thing into this Taurian aspect of growing food. We tried hydroponics, which was all about like chemicals, this other kind of like scientific side of Uranus that was brought into our food production. We became so focused on our diet, our bodies, that kind of a thing. And so I have to imagine that some of those shifts did start a little bit earlier, like 2018, 2019, maybe becoming more health conscious. I know that I did go back. I had broken my vegetarianism for a while before 2018, and I went back to becoming a vegetarian then. So I can kind of see that tie in there. But anyways, just strongly suggesting that you take a moment to reflect on this larger 7-year story that's been happening in the Taurus sector of your life, because as Uranus stations direct this week, it takes those things that you've brought in to that part of your chart, and it makes it bigger for you to bring forward. Where do we go forward with this energy? Well, we bring it into Gemini, where you start sharing some of that with somebody else to get the other perspective and the other side and the other ideas associated with it. It becomes something that you start working with others more. And so there's new gifts that you're taking forward, essentially, that if you haven't like taken the time inside of these 7 years to reflect what changed and grew and manifested inside of this part of your life, well, the secret sauce is you get to now start sharing that with other people very shortly here. Jake, did you want to reflect on what was inside of yours?
Yeah. So this is my 8th house, and some of the things that we were talking about were like death and rebirth, like shadow, other people's energy and experiences that deepen relationships. And as we were thinking about 2018 for me and the cycles that have happened since, I mean, pretty much everything changed in that area. For one, Corbin and I met like right around when this cycle started. And so the shifts that caused in all, like in my whole life, I mean, in my relationships, I mean, I had been in serious relationships, but not long-term relationships up until that point. And so that was definitely a shift in how things were. And then that rippled out into my friends and like the people that I spent time with, and the ways that those relationships shifted. And there was also been this really big arc as well around depending on other people's energy, their opinions, their perceptions. I mean, I feel like I've talked about this on and off.
Very 8th house.
Yeah, very 8th house. And this shift, and I'm really feeling like this kind of breaking point right now where it's like, no, I'm done with that old way. I'm moving into a new way. I'm so over it. I'm ready for that new, and shifting more into that, like, what's true for me? What is my opinion? What is my perception? Like, where do I see things, not immediately going outwards? You know?
I just laugh at the phrase "what's true for me" because I'm a Capricorn rising, and so Taurus is in my 5th house, the house of fun and games, of pleasure, of risk. It's a really, it's a good house, the 5th house. And prior to 2018, I had been in a relationship where a lot of my hobbies kind of went away. My relationship was the hobby. I stopped doing astrology. I stopped playing all my nerdy games. And in 2018, I played a lot of tabletop trading card games, y'all. Definitely a nerd at heart. And got to reconnect with that community and start doing things that brought me a lot of joy. That's what it was. It's personal to me, right? Just like astrology was like this thing that was personal to me that came back in such a huge way in 2018. But I remember that Jupiter transit in 2023, 24, and I thought, this is my 5th house. This is creativity. I just want to be an artist so bad. I just want to like creatively express myself. And we actually got into resin in 2023 and really doing a lot of making with our hands. And so that creative expressive element that comes with the 5th house really was something that I now get to take forward after the Uranus transit throughout there. So again, look at your chart, think about Taurus, think about what you've been understanding is right for you, especially inside of the 3D world. And as it relates to relationships. And definitely a big moment of time here.
Yeah. And if you need assistance with that.
Oh, yeah. Here's one more announcement. Didn't talk about.
So Pisces portals pulled up. But if you go on over to the website, rayoflighthypnosis.com, you will see that astrology services are listed here, and you can see that Corbin's here. Woohoo!
We're bringing everything under one banner, under one house.
It just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It just makes the most sense.
We live in one house too. So
yeah. And especially as Pisces portals has come to fruition and we have been launching that. This is where things are going. This is our dream, ultimately, our vision. And so we're working on putting those pieces together and you know, all the little details. But if you need some help with understanding your own astrology and what is happening, or how you might best work with that, Corbin is.
Or if you heard something scary about the eclipses coming up that you want to talk about,
right?
you know.
Yeah. Corbin is great at helping you to understand the cycles and understand how to practically work with that, because there's definitely a way that. What, Tammy?
No, this last thing here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So anyway, go to the website, check it out. Grab yourself a floral skull on sale as well, because yeah. And Lisa, I did see your question about the coasters, and they are coming soon. Yes.
Probably not until March.
Probably not until March.
We have an IRL event that we're really producing everything for right now.
Yes, we're in hardcore production for our IRL event, and then we will have the time and the space to put stuff on online afterwards. So, yes, right. I know, Beth. It is. Congratulations. Woohoo. It is happening. So,
the last thing that we had to talk about, this is just kind of funny. I mean, I always like go and comb for a few news things to see what's going on. And this week, there's been just so many Pisces coming up into the zeitgeist this week. Don Lemon getting arrested. Did you know he's a Pisces stellium? Did you know that Catherine O'Hara, who just passed, is also a Pisces stellium? They each have like 3+ planets in Pisces, and I was just kind of surprised by that. But the reminder is that Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius, and there's so much energy inside of Aquarius right now, and that Saturn is at the end of Pisces and the end of the zodiac. So big closings again as it relates to, you know, this part of your chart, these sort of topics and themes. Beth, this is where we'll kind of try to like switch into, you know, now that Neptune has left Pisces and moved into Aries, because that's kind of this idea where we're leaving Pisces and we're moving into Aries. The question was like, what do we see around flow, and what do we see around connection with source and inspiration and divinity? And definitely when when Neptune moves into Aries, we have to remember that this is a sign of the divine masculine. And so spirituality needs to be something that we are actively working towards, but that we're also actively being like guided and led by. Inside of Pisces, you know, there's about these passive ways about finding flow state, or about flow coming to you. Although I think about a lot of my friends who are artists, and they tell me that my muse only finds me when I'm working. You know, Aries has this idea of like, I'm running towards that thing. I don't really know where I'm running or how's it going, but this idea of being guided by our passions, guided by spirit, guided by intuition, it needs to become more of that compass that leads us forward at this time. Flow becomes something that should be guiding us, essentially, is kind of what I think about with that. And whereas we used to maybe do things internally to find that, this is now about the culmination and creation for it for a much larger people. On a larger scale too, traditionally though, when Neptune is in Aries, we're having Saturn come in, and just the two of those together really do indicate a little bit of a spiritual crisis. And so that need and drive to find flow, to find spirit, to find meaning, to find belief, that again, it should become part of your self-care, if it already isn't, because one of the challenges that we'll be faced with Neptune and Saturn together inside of Aries is really a lack of spirit, a lack of belief, a lack of trust. We're seeing that already inside of the systems, whether they be 3D or some of the old spiritual systems and religious systems too. So about turning away, finding that new channel that you're moving in and being guided that direction.
Well, and I feel like it's about what's true for you. It's your truth. It's that Aries, like, no, it's not yours. It's not some outside system that tells me what I believe, or what is true for me, or what resonates. It's what I believe. Yep. It's about me. And I think immediately of like the shifts in religion, in spirituality, and And this is in the mainstream religions, absolutely, in a lot of different ways. I mean, some people are turning to the mainstream religions, other people are turning away, but also the New Age movement, the more modern spirituality, there are big shifts in that. And I know for me personally, I've been having these moments of reckoning with like, what do I believe? And is it the same as other people?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it's not. And maybe that's okay. And I think having the courage to speak that truth and to bring it to the world is also that Aries, like fiery, like, I don't care what you think, I'm going to say it. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So as we wind down the portal here, I mean, I think the biggest message, come to the Dragon event.
Yep, tickets are live.
Dragons are a great way with connecting with your inner child and with
your
and the
fire too,
and the fire of Leo. Yeah, that's really wonderful.
222 portal, 6 p.m. Get your tickets now, just $11.
But yeah, I mean, if there's the biggest way that any of us can live what's going on right now is probably turning away from our phones, turning away from the technology, turning away from the information, going inside, getting in touch with the fire, the light inside of your heart, that truth, embracing that, and then remembering that as light workers, that's what we're supposed to be bringing forward. We don't need to be bringing forward more and more information. There's just endless information right now. And I mean, just go inside and figure out what's right for you. Like, yeah.
If you need some help or assistance or support in that, sessions with Corbin, sessions with me, definitely can help you to connect with your own inner wisdom and your own inner knowing, your higher guidance. So definitely head on over to the site, Ray of Light Hypnosis, to book with either of us now, both live on there.
And Blessed Imbolc, happy Candlemas, like go make some candles with your hands, y'all. Create that light inside of your environment.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the creativity piece, very inner child, very Leo, very heart-centered. Create, go make something, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be shared with anyone. It can be just for you.
And if you don't like your hands, go sing, go talk, go orate, but move that energy from your heart to your throat.
Or like cook something. I mean, like I definitely have moments of creativity in the kitchen. I mean, there's lots of different ways that.
And then share with us what you did. Like that's,
Yeah.
Then right. Oh my God. It's that kid coming home from school and it's like, Mom, I made this, that's the energy that I want from all y'all. So whatever you go and make and create inside of this full moon, share it with us. Let us know, because like whatever made you smile will definitely make me smile.
Absolutely. And happy that any of this information helped you guys. I mean, a big part of why we want to do this show is just creating this space where we can talk and we can share and we can reflect and hopefully help each other in reflecting. I mean, because that's what the reflection's all about. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We are sending you all the love and see you next week.
Eclipses. Woo-hoo.
All right, bye, y'all.